Tension across the Middle East surged dramatically after explosive claims emerged from Iranian media and military sources suggesting that one of the most powerful warships in the world had become the target of a strike in the region. According to Iranian officials and statements circulating through regional outlets, Iran claims it launched an attack on the USS Gerald R. Ford, the United States Navy's nuclear-powered aircraft carrier and one of the most advanced naval vessels ever built. The claim immediately captured global attention because the USS Gerald R. Ford is not just another warship. It represents the centerpiece of American naval power projection. Stretching more than 300 meters in length and carrying dozens of aircraft, the carrier serves as a floating airbase capable of launching sustained military operations across vast distances. Iranian sources say that during heightened tensions in the region, their military forces targeted the carrier as it operated in waters connected to the broader Middle East theater. According to Iranian claims, the strike was meant to send a powerful message that even the most heavily defended naval assets could be reached if conflict escalated further. Before we dive deeper into these dramatic claims, the reported strike itself, and the conflicting statements now coming from Washington and Tehran, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest developments in global security and major geopolitical events unfolding around the world. According to Iranian statements, the alleged strike occurred during a period of heightened military alert across the region. Iranian military commentators claim their forces launched what they describe as a coordinated attack aimed directly at the USS Gerald R. Ford. The carrier, according to open-source naval tracking reports, had been operating as part of a large U.S. naval task force in the region. Aircraft carriers rarely operate alone. They are usually surrounded by a powerful group of escort ships, including guided missile destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and logistical support vessels. Together, this formation forms what is known as a carrier strike group, one of the most heavily defended naval formations anywhere in the world. Despite these defenses, Iranian commentators claim their forces were able to target the carrier using advanced weapons designed to reach naval assets operating far from shore. Iranian media outlets described the alleged strike as a demonstration of their ability to challenge U.S. naval presence in nearby waters. According to these claims, the attack involved missiles or long-range strike systems aimed at the carrier group. Iranian commentators framed the event as a warning to Washington about the risks of escalating military pressure against Iran. However, the situation quickly became more complicated when officials in the United States responded to these claims. According to statements from U.S. defense officials, the reports coming from Iranian sources are not accurate. American officials have stated clearly that the USS Gerald R. Ford has not been struck and remains fully operational and secure. U.S. military sources emphasize that the carrier strike group continues to conduct normal operations in the region. They describe the Iranian claims as misinformation or propaganda designed to influence public perception during a period of geopolitical tension. The conflicting narratives from Tehran and Washington have now created a situation in which two very different versions of events are circulating simultaneously. On one side, Iranian officials claim they successfully targeted one of the most powerful ships in the U.S. Navy. On the other side, U.S. defense officials say the carrier remains completely safe and that no such strike occurred. Understanding why this claim has generated so much attention requires looking at the strategic importance of the USS Gerald R. Ford itself. The Gerald R. Ford class carriers represent the newest generation of American aircraft carriers. They are designed to replace the older Nimitz-class carriers and incorporate a wide range of technological upgrades. The USS Gerald R. Ford itself is the lead ship of this class. It features advanced radar systems, electromagnetic aircraft launch systems, and improved nuclear power capabilities that allow it to operate for decades without refueling. With a displacement of more than 100,000 tons, the ship is essentially a mobile military base. It carries fighter jets, surveillance aircraft, helicopters, and a wide array of support systems. The carrier can launch air operations around the clock, projecting power hundreds of kilometers away from its location. For this reason, aircraft carriers are often viewed as one of the most visible symbols of U.S. military strength. Deploying a carrier strike group to a region sends a clear signal about American strategic interests and capabilities. This is why claims involving attacks on aircraft carriers immediately draw global attention. Striking such a vessel would represent a major military event. According to Iranian commentators, the alleged targeting of the USS Gerald R. Ford was meant to demonstrate that American naval assets are not beyond reach. Iran has invested heavily in developing weapons specifically designed to challenge large naval formations. These include anti-ship missiles, fast attack boats, drones, and other systems intended to complicate operations for large warships operating near Iranian waters. Iranian military doctrine has often emphasized asymmetric tactics aimed at offsetting the technological advantage held by larger naval powers. Within that framework, striking a high-profile target such as an aircraft carrier would represent a powerful symbolic victory. However, U.S. officials strongly reject the idea that any such strike occurred. They emphasize that carrier strike groups are protected by multiple layers of defense. Escort ships equipped with advanced radar and missile systems constantly monitor the surrounding airspace and sea lanes. These ships are capable of intercepting incoming threats before they reach the carrier itself. In addition to ship-based defenses, carrier strike groups also deploy aircraft and surveillance systems that extend their defensive perimeter far beyond the immediate formation. Submarines and other assets may also operate alongside the group to detect and counter potential threats. Because of this layered defensive structure, penetrating a carrier strike group's defenses would be extremely difficult. That is one of the reasons aircraft carriers have remained central to U.S. naval strategy for decades. The USS Gerald R. Ford itself incorporates even more advanced defensive systems compared with earlier carrier classes. Its radar and electronic warfare capabilities allow it to detect and track potential threats at long range. In addition, escort ships within the carrier group are equipped with missile defense systems designed to intercept incoming projectiles. These layers of protection make aircraft carriers among the most secure military platforms in the world. Despite this, Iranian commentators continue to repeat their claim that the carrier was targeted during a recent operation. They frame the alleged strike as part of a broader message directed at the United States. According to their narrative, the event demonstrates that regional powers possess the capability to challenge even the most powerful naval forces. But without independent confirmation of the alleged strike, the situation remains a matter of competing narratives. U.S. officials maintain that the USS Gerald R. Ford remains safe and undamaged, continuing its operations as part of a larger naval presence in the region. The broader geopolitical context surrounding these claims is the long-running tension between Iran and the United States. Over the years, the two countries have faced multiple confrontations involving naval forces, sanctions, and regional conflicts. The Persian Gulf and nearby waters have often been the setting for tense encounters between American and Iranian naval units. Aircraft carriers have frequently played a role in these situations. Deploying a carrier strike group to the region allows the United States to respond rapidly to emerging crises. For Iran, however, the presence of large American naval forces near its shores is often viewed as a strategic pressure tactic. This dynamic has led to periodic exchanges of warnings and demonstrations of military capability from both sides. In that environment, claims such as the alleged strike on the USS Gerald R. Ford can quickly become part of a broader information struggle. Both governments communicate their positions through official statements, media channels, and diplomatic messaging. The goal is often to shape perceptions about strength, deterrence, and strategic resolve. Analysts say that these competing narratives are not unusual during periods of heightened geopolitical tension. Countries sometimes emphasize events that support their strategic messaging while downplaying or disputing claims made by their rivals. For observers trying to understand what is actually happening, this environment can create uncertainty. Independent verification becomes crucial, but information may remain limited during sensitive military situations. What remains clear is that the USS Gerald R. Ford continues to represent a central element of U.S. naval power. Its presence in the region signals the importance Washington places on maintaining a strong maritime posture. At the same time, Iran's repeated emphasis on its ability to challenge such forces reflects the broader strategic rivalry shaping the region. As long as tensions remain high, incidents or claims involving major military assets will likely continue to attract global attention. The story surrounding the alleged strike on the USS Gerald R. Ford illustrates how quickly information can spread in the modern media environment. Within hours of the claim appearing in Iranian outlets, it had already become the subject of intense discussion across international news platforms and security circles. Yet the official position from the United States remains unchanged. According to U.S. defense officials, the USS Gerald R. Ford has not been struck and continues to operate safely as part of the American naval presence in the region. Whether the Iranian claim was intended as a strategic message or a symbolic demonstration, the reality, according to U.S. officials, is that the carrier remains fully operational. For now, the situation highlights the ongoing rivalry between two nations whose strategic competition continues to shape the security dynamics of the Middle East and beyond.